All right, you're back. All right, it's Tuesday at 7:30. Oh wait, no, it's not at all. Sorry, dumb joke, I know. But anyway, during my live stream last night, YouTube decided to take a crap, and never seen it that bad. It all just shut down during my live stream. Unfortunately, I had about a bunch more time worth of thoughts and books to show and all that, so I figured why not? I still have all this stuff sitting out, pull a little bit more stuff to talk about. Why not just go live today? Because no one else was live right now. So I guess here's part two of the Tuesday night live stream from the 16th of October. So there we go. We'll go ahead and start off right where we left off, I suppose. Just once again, big thanks to Alex the Comic Order for this X-Men lot. It's the last thing I got a chance to show before all the viewers and everything just went to crap and it fell out. So just a very quick recap. Alex cut me a solid deal on like this whole stack of books, which included like 7 or 8 X-Men, like early bronze, like 90s to early 100s. So absolutely love filling up that run because it's a hard run to fill up these times of, since X-Men's been popular forever, it seems like. So big thanks to him. I did want to read a few comments based on the last video that I got. And then as well, if you guys hadn't checked that out, I did a Walking Dead blind bag unbagging on Saturday because it was Walking Dead Day. So go back and check that out. But thank you to the people who have. I've had a tremendous response to that video. I've almost got, it's not a lot to some of the people out there, but I got about 200 views on it. So that's pretty big for my channel. So thank you for that. So if you guys had a chance, it was a very fun video to do. I was going to originally do it last night, but I just couldn't wait to do it for 3 days. So I just went and bagged them Saturday. I'm kind of glad I did because I wouldn't want to wait one more day after YouTube went to crap. But before I read the comments, I want to say what's up to the Gray Man and All About Comics. Glad you guys could make it in. Sorry for the abrupt live stream. But like I said, I still got books laying around and that type of stuff. Figured why not flip the live switch on and keep rambling my mouth. So first off, I'll go ahead and read some comments here. I'd like to try to read a few more comments during these live feeds to show my appreciation to the ones I get. So this first comment comes from the Tuesday night live stream I had on October 9th, and it's from Comics Addiction. He says, thank you for the shout and the kind words. My family is doing great now after a couple of tough weeks. So very happy to hear that. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, Comics Addiction, he kind of stopped doing YouTube after he said he had a baby on the way. So obviously I got a little concerned for him, but now he's saying his family, after a few weeks, he's doing great. So I'm happy to hear that. He wishes he had a half price books near his area. So many great deals. And he would watch a Money in the Bank wrestling matchup if we made one for the Comic Core and the WWE 2K19 scene, which been having a lot of fun with, by the way. We've been getting on the Great Legend Show's channel and Niobe Comics channel with the BWK ring and that stuff. So we've been having, when the servers permit, we had a lot of fun. Let's just say that. All right, next up, we got one from All About Comics Best Bud on Thursday nights during Comics and Cold Ones, Pope Grimy. He says, try to catch you live. Good stuff, man. Love the Mr. Sinister. He's an underrated character. Cheers. So thanks for that, Pope Grimy. Like I said last night, I got a nice stack from Alex, and it had the first Mr. Sinister in it. And then just other people saying thanks. So I just want to special shout outs to Ruben Neves. One day I'm going to pronounce your last name right, bud. TJ Watson, Comic Spectre, Sam Stangled Webb, Michael Porson, once again, Comics Addiction, and Prowler671. And also Spidey Fan chimed in. He said, I'm honored to be YouTuber of the week. Thanks for the kind words. Great show, even though it looked to have been cut short. So thank you guys for that. Hearts all around the little comment gimmick here. And once again, check out my first video. I got some links in that video for Spidey Fan's last video, which I really enjoyed, of him showing the Mondo Art Gallery of the MCU the first 10 years. I have a lot of great posters, kind of like the one you see behind me. And it looks like we've got Comic Geek McD joining the chat. What's going on, man? Glad you could make it. So what I was going to segue into yesterday, once I showed my X-Men lot, is I just felt like showing some X-Men books. So last couple weeks I've been doing just basically showing runs of books on my channel. And if you guys don't like that, just let me know in the comments or something like that. If you guys don't want me to show like full runs of stuff, because I know I can get a little bit redundant just showing, one run of a book instead of multiple covers and stuff. So, but if you like it, hey, say something like, hey, cool, I collected that run, or really like that cover, or I got all these. Yeah, let me know what you think, basically. But first, before I get into my run, I just pulled out all these X-Men books to show the nice covers and stuff on, because who doesn't love some nice covers? And they're in the same box, and I wanted to look at them, so I pulled them out. So I figured why not show them. But first, I want to say, what's up, Comic Core Chad? Glad you can make it, man. How's it going, Chad? We'll play some more WWE 2K19 later. I know my chin's still hurting from your Shawn Michaels, by the way. Um, but first, I've got these J. Scott Campbell variants. I think I showed these way back when, but I actually thought about doing like a display on my wall, but I just don't have any room of these covers. But I try not to splurge too much on J. Scott Campbell's store because his stuff is pricey. But I made an exception for these Phoenix Resurrection variants because they were really awesome. This is the main one I wanted out of that run. This is the Dark Phoenix variant. I think there were about 8 variants he made for this total, just for his store exclusive. So there's Phoenix Resurrection #1, Dark Phoenix variant, which is by far my favorite, just because, especially in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I really enjoyed playing as Dark Phoenix in that game because not a lot of people knew how to get Dark Phoenix. Here is the 90s, basically, I guess, 92 Jean Grey, I guess. So thought that was nice too. It just kind of came with the package. Here is all new X-Men Jean Grey, which I haven't had a chance to keep track of Extermination because my store didn't hold issue 3 for me. If issue 3's even happened yet. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't, but that's the Jean Grey from that. And one of my favorite runs, the Grant Morrison run of New X-Men version of Jean Grey. So there's that. Never was a huge fan of these costumes, but still looks very nice. And then I think I got these on a different deal off the Campbell store, but hey, they were all next to each other in a box. I figured why not show them. So this cool X-Men #1. I think this was like the Brian Wood all-female team, I think. This is reprinted of. I guess it's not really reprint. It's a first print, but still cool Rogue and Psylocke cover there. This one, I think I ordered this around maybe last Christmas time, and for some reason they oversold the regular cover. So basically they were just selling the signed ones at no extra cost. So I got another cool Jean Grey #1 Dark Phoenix variant signed with no extra charge with the COA. So, and it's a C cover too. These C covers on his website aren't the easiest to get, because usually that means you have to buy the A and B cover, but luckily I got it as a part of a special sell where I didn't have to get the A and B cover, so I thought that was really nice. And while we're in the Campbell section, I pulled out the Wedding Anniversary issue, probably 1. Yeah, there you go. Everything's an issue 1 anymore. But yeah, this is the one where, everyone's getting married and not married the same week. And Kitty Pryde and Colossus were no exception. And then Rogue and Gambit got married instead, so there's that. Next up, more Phoenix Resurrection. Got an awesome Jenny Frison variant to it. Actually got her to sign that at C2E2 this last year. So there's the signature right by my pinky. But I've always thought this is a really nice Frison cover. Everyone in the community loves some Jenny Frison, so there we go. And if you guys are going to C2E2 next year, it's going to be a big, fun get-together. I see Comic Core Chat up there. We're already planning it. So very much looking forward to C2E2 next year. I cannot wait. And we got next up X-Men Sword of the Braddocks. Got this out of a dollar bin about a couple months back. So like I said, I know this one's a little bit harder to find. And cool Alex Garner variant. I think everyone thinks this is Grade Core, but I believe it is actually Alex Garner. So very nice cover there. David Finch Psylocke #1. So another beloved cover in the community. So there's that. Then the last one, always got to show some Mike Turner on the channel. This is an Aspen store exclusive for Civil War X-Men #1. Got this one signed by Peter Steigerwald and Michael Turner and Yannick Paquette on the top. So try to zoom in there. Sorry, but actually, I'm kind of not sorry about the Mylar glare, but there you go. There's Turner's signature right under White Queen there, and Steigerwald, and then Yannick luckily signed all across the top there. So very happy with that cover. One of my favorite Turners, just because it's Turner, it's the X-Men. What's not to love? All right, before I get into my feature run of the week, it looks like we've got Comic Geek McD says that Jean Grey cover was awesome. Looks like we got my #1 subscriber ever, Fish Topic. How's it going, man? He says he loves that cover too. Comic Core Chad says C2E2 will be epic. Like I said, I cannot wait. Every year I look forward to it. I don't even know who like guests are going, but at this point it doesn't matter. I'm just looking forward to seeing, Comic Core bros and friends I see every year up there. And I know it's going to be a good time if they didn't even announce, if they just had the convention period at this point. So very much, once again, looking forward to that. All right. So on my featured run of the week, now I was kind of watching The Gifted the other day as well, which is, back on Fox. And it's a halfway decent show if no one's seen it. If it went away tomorrow, I probably wouldn't be too upset just because I know that means the X-Men are going to the MCU. But in the meantime, between Legion and The Gifted, at least we got some solid X-Men television shows to watch. But every time someone asks me, or I hear someone ask in the community, like if I want to start reading X-Men because I really haven't, what's a good book to start with? I know a lot of people would say the Claremont and Byrne run, which is a great answer. It's an excellent run. Obviously, I'm collecting it right now. But I think in terms of attainability and, low cost, obviously, and if you don't want to mess with digital or Marvel Unlimited, I always just suggest Astonishing X-Men. I think this is one of maybe my personal favorite X-Men run. It's a tie for me almost between this run and Grant Morrison's new X-Men run. But I feel like in terms of like being able to introduce a new reader to the X-Men, I think Astonishing does a better job just because I got 2 copies of issue 1 with different covers. Just because like issue 1 is, you can just start here. You don't really need to know a heck of a lot before this issue. Obviously, it doesn't hurt to know like Wolverine's powers and Cyclops, but I think that's just kind of ingrained in pulp culture right now. So if the new readers out there and wondering what X-Men title they should pick up, I would highly, highly suggest Astonishing X-Men. It only runs for about, well, I'll say this: the best part of the runs about 24 to 25 issues, including that giant size. And most of these are actually in 50-cent bins now, which still kind of blows my mind because it's a very good run. I guess they just printed a lot of them. But most of these, I think I even got this exact copy here out of a 50-cent bin. So they're easily attainable. You can put together the run pretty easily. I know my half price books right now, I think they have pretty much this issue on through 12 for $1. So it's easy to go out there and find these. So let's get in the show on the books and the covers. So this first one is actually a gift from my brother. This is a John Cassaday variant. I think this was a retailer/store variant. I can't remember. Is either that or like a 1 of 100. But I think there's also a Gabriel Del Otto variant that I do not have. That might have been the 1 of 100. I think this might have been the 1 per store, if I remember right. Something like that. But basically, you've got this cover, the Del Otto cover, I think is the most sought after one. And then this is the A cover right here. This is the one that they had like 10 million of the day it came out. But a quick note about my copy of this, I do have it signed by John Cassaday in the bottom corner there. I was very happy to be able to meet him at a Wizard World about 10 years ago when this first came out. So like I said, I'm a huge fan of his art, especially after this run. And I think, if even in terms of collecting just for the covers, like I know some people do out there, because who has time to read 10 trillion comics? These are some of the most phenomenal X-Men covers ever as well. So right there, issue 2, really cool White Queen and Cyclops cover, also signed by John Cassaday. Got an issue 3. This is probably one of the most famous covers from the run. Got that nice upside down Wolverine. Originally, it was solicited like this, and then it was released like this. So I always thought that was kind of cool. Once again, John Cassaday Sig on there. Same thing for my issue 4 right there. And if you guys aren't familiar with the storyline, want to know a little bit about it. Basically, the first part of the storyline has a lot to do, kind of like if you've seen, unfortunately, if you've seen X-Men 3, that movie actually stole a little bit from the storyline in terms of introducing the mutant cure and what that meant for the war against mutants and humanity and all that stuff. So there's a lot of interesting dichotomy going on in this comic, as well as introducing a new villain on top of that, who's kind of all about helping get the cure done so all of mutants can be eradicated. And I believe also there's an early, it might have been the first issue actually, maybe the first appearance of Agent Brand and Sword. So then they introduced that whole cast as well. in terms of trying to, combat all this anti-mutant stuff, of course. So there's issue 5. I think this is the one where they had 2 different covers as well. This is the more regular cover. Also got it signed by Cassaday right there. But there's another one, I think it says like X-Men on the side, and it has a picture of Colossus right there. Because obviously the next one with a pretty big spoiler otherwise, there's issue 6. So basically the last 2 issues, it was where we get Colossus back. During the whole legacy virus thing in the very early 2000s, Colossus injected himself with the legacy virus, costing his life, but he cured the legacy virus in the process. So unfortunately, we were without Colossus until this issue here, and then this one kind of explains how we got Colossus back. And obviously, Kitty's pretty happy about that. So there's that. Before I go into my next run, I want to get back to the chat. Comic Geek McD says, just want to pop in and say hello. Got a heavy day tomorrow, so I'll check it out on the rerun. Awesome work. Catch you later. Thank you for catching me, Comic Geek McD. Very much appreciate it. Looks like I've got Genome Presents. He says, and the saga continues. Yeah, it's a good way to put it, I guess. And then we got Who Dat Comics and Movies, who I'm confusing because it's not Tuesday. Yeah, and then Gamma Comics just hopped in and said, yeah, what's going on, Gamma Comics? Yeah, like I said, as soon as I started to feed it, everything crashed yesterday night. About 15 minutes in, I just look down in the corner, one view, look over to my chat, which is on my side here. No one's saying anything, and then I just get on my phone. Can't even populate YouTube. So I figured, yeah, Genome put it perfectly. My live stream broke YouTube. I started playing with this giant Ethernet cord I got here, which shout out to the giant Ethernet cord. And apparently somehow I just destroyed YouTube for 1 hour. So there we go. Anyway, back to Astonishing X-Men. So I believe they went for 6 issue stints. So after like what felt like, I think, a 6-month hiatus back in the day, issue 7 came out. And then there's issue 8. So I believe, no, actually it's it run after that. There's issue 9, and then number 10. But then they're slowly gearing up in this book for the return of Cassandra Nova, who is one of the main baddies from the Grant Morrison run. And she's basically in the process of this whole thing bringing back the Hellfire Club. So I think that was probably like one of the most interesting parts of this whole book, is when you go from 12 to about 13 on up. And that's when the X-Men start to get their asses kicked, basically. So just a nice little team cover there. I always like this one. And then you kind of see Emma in the background, like everybody's kind of avoiding Emma. So there's more on that in this book later. So nice issue 14 where, yeah, Wolverine and Emma Frost. This is a pretty big deal cover for like 2 seconds back in the day, but it's just turns out to be hijinks from the Hellfire Club. So mainly ran by Cassandra Nova. And then we've got 16, got Cassaday Sigs on that one as well. And then probably my favorite cover out of the whole run, issue 17 with a frightened child Wolverine. So basically Cassandra Nova like reverts Wolverine's brain back to like the character he more or less was in Wolverine Origin. So he's just like a scared child that you can see there. So there's that. And I think it was in issue 18. It might actually be in issue 17, but it's been probably almost 10 years since I wrote read these the first time. But basically, like, Beast is in a feral state, Wolverine's in a childish state, and then they get brought back. Like, I think, is it Cyclops? I think he kind of knows like all the protocols after a while, how to bring back the other ones from mind control. They basically give Beast this like weird ball of string that's got pheromones in it that'll bring him back to normal, or some crazy explanation like that. And then Wolverine just has a beer and is back to normal. So Cyclops is just like, here, little kid, have a beer. And then Wolverine's just like, beer, bub. So then Wolverine's back to normal after that. Actually, it might have been Kitty. It's either Kitty or Cyclops that brings the team back so they can fight the Hellfire Club. So nonetheless, it was awesome back in the day. And once we get to these cool variant covers, we're in the last part of it, where they end up having to go to space and fighting the species of the main bad guy from the first run, because they're trying to basically just destroy Earth with a giant bullet. So there's 19, and I really, really like these single character covers that Cassaday did. Actually didn't even collect the other ones. I just strictly got these off the rack when they came out. So there's the Cyclops one signed by Cassaday. Then I got 20, the Beast one signed by Cassaday. And then this, the Emma Frost one might be my favorite just because of the color scheme, and she just looks pretty sinister slash awesome. So once again, there's the Cassaday signature there. I think that might be my last signed one in this lot. 22, there's the Wolverine cover. I kind of like the Wolvie cover too, just because like if you look at the next one, which is issue 23, Colossus is like really tall and takes up the whole cover. And I'm guessing Wolverine's the same perspective, and he's like 5 feet tall, like he's supposed to be in the comics. So shout out for Cassaday's art on that. I thought that was a nice little detail. And then the last actual issue of the Joss Whedon John Cassaday run is 24 in terms of number astonishing. So pretty much I read Astonishing 25 and immediately dropped from my pull list because this creative team was done. I don't even remember who took over. It might have been like Warren Ellis for a minute, which was all right, but it may as well have been a different book at this point. If it was Modern Marvel now, it would have been completely retitled and a new number one, just to put it how different the book was after this. So Kitty was appropriately on this issue 24. This is the last we saw Kitty Pryde for a long time after this. She ends up, that bullet I talked about earlier, she's the one who ends up phasing the bullet through the Earth, and then the bullet flies away from Earth. So Kitty is presumed dead until she is brought back later in the X-Men. But actually, I'm sorry, it was technically the giant size X-Men I forgot to talk about, which this is the final issue of the Whedon Cassaday run. I think they actually continued with 25 under the new creative team because Cassaday's art is so good and detailed. It took them a really long time to get from the last issue to the finale of the giant size. So there's the giant size there. And actually, I like the book so much. I got this off the rack when it came out. I paid like 25 bucks for it and immediately went and got it graded just because I wanted something nice CGC slab from this run because it is one of my favorite runs. So I got a 9/8 black and white store variant of the giant size Astonishing X-Men. So that's all I got to say about Astonishing X-Men. Like I said, if you guys are looking for one X-Men run to read, that is my suggestion, especially if you're a new reader. I think it's very new reader friendly, and I think it's mostly collected in about a series of 4 trades at most comic shops. So that is my top X-Men recommendation. Besides, obviously a lot of people are going to say the Claremont run. That's the obvious answer, but hey, these aren't in dollar bins, so a little harder for me to recommend that if you're looking for single issues. So we'll get back in the chat, and I got one more topic to talk about tonight. Let's see what we got. We got Prowler 671 is back. How's it going, man? Gray Man says, I think my awesome Brave and the Bold run broke it. LOL. So it looked like Gray Man helped break YouTube last night as well. Pope Grammy finally made it. What's going on, Pope Grammy? Glad you could make it, man, to a stream that is actually up and work. I have no idea how Pope Grammy was even watching my video. Like, YouTube was in the middle of being down, and I got a comment from Pope Grammy saying, like, hey, cool video. Mr. Sinister was awesome, man. I'm like, how did you even see it? He must have been the one viewer. So thanks, Pope. Genome says, oh, that Frightened Wolverine book looks like Archangel Gabriel from Supernatural. And then Gamma Comics says, I love the Beast cover. And he always loved the other covers. So, yeah, very cool, man. The last thing I was going to talk about tonight, looking at my stacks, just making sure I don't forget something. I'm kind of going to show this on my channel just to kind of make myself read it again because it's been a while since I read this one. But it being October, we're all about horror and scary month. You can barely see it because of the weird glare going on and off, but I got the death light on, so there's Death from Sandman staring over my shoulder back there. But I did want to highlight this hardcover. I'm going to try to read this in a couple weeks, hopefully. But this is called In the Dark, a horror anthology. I actually got this off a Kickstarter way back when. It originally started as a Kickstarter from, I think, a creator named Rachel Deering. But I guess the idea was so good it was picked up by IDW. So I think this is actually available on Amazon. So originally I bought this thinking it'd be a cool one of those type of books to take to a con and get a ton of signatures in. But then they sent it and it was this big. So I guess just to put it in perspective, there's a normal comic and then there's this book. So probably not going to fit my backpack anytime soon. So yeah, I'm not in my 20s anymore, so hauling these things around cons sometimes a little bit out of the question. So, but there's a pretty cool creative team in this. Originally, it started off like Scott Snyder was going to do the horror because he worked on books like American Vampire and Witches, and he's a big horror nut, as we probably all can realize at this point. But I think once they started hitting Kickstarter goals and stuff, they started throwing on a little bit more money and getting some more creators. So just an example of some writers and a couple artists who did this book. So you got Cullen Bunn and Drew Moss do the first story, so that's a pretty good lead off right there. And then the next one, you get Justin Jordan and Tyler Jenkins. So very cool team right there. Justin Jordan's a really good creator. And then Rachel Deering, of course. And then I'll skip over a couple. We got Steve Niles, Tim Seeley, Tom Taylor, who's been killing it on X-Men Red lately, James Tynan, who obviously kills it on all the DC books he's been doing, Dwayne Swierczynski, I know he's did Cable in the past and that type of stuff. And then there's one that called The One That Got Away by Scott Snyder and Nate Powell. And actually, I think Nate Powell is local to here, so maybe I'll get signed by one person one day. Set Me Free by Jody LaHiop, which I think that might have been Shirtless Bear Fighter, if I remember right. And then who else we got? Ed Brisson, been killing it in Marvel lately. Paul Tobin, Rachel Deering again. And I know one of Comic Core Chad's favorite creators, he just found out about Baltimore Comic-Con, Marguerite Bennett. So that's a inside joke, I guess, if there ever was one. So creator of New 52 logo, Marguerite Bennett, worked on this book. So Into the Dark, this is one of my kind of reading goals for the month of October. But as you can see, it's a pretty nice sized book to get through. So I'll be reading this throughout the month, and hopefully by the end of this month, I have 2 goals on this channel. I want to do a review for this book, and I kind of want to do, I notice a lot of people have been doing like a top 5 or a top 10 horror books in their collection. So I definitely want to set up something like that, if not next Tuesday, the last Tuesday of the month, but probably next Tuesday because I predict being a little busy the final Tuesday of the month. All right, so let's get back to the chat and see what we got going on. So Pope Grammy says, I'll try to do your laugh, Pope. Since you typed the laugh in, I got to at least abide and try this. I was watching you and just stopped talking and started messing with an iPad or something. And then you turned off the feed, and I was like, I guess he's done. Yeah, like I said, I had 1 viewer and YouTube crashed completely. Looks like we got Trinity Entertainment. What's going on, man? I'm glad you hopped in because you remind me to talk about Titans. I was going to talk about Titans yesterday. I never got a chance to. So he says, my boy Carson, what's up? Go figure. As soon as I drop in, you mentioned Snyder. LOL. Yeah, I know. That's one of Trinity's boys, Scott Snyder. All right, and it looks like we got Brian Spaceboy 227. What's going on, Brian? Glad you can make it, man. So kind of back to the Titans thing. Last week I highlighted pretty much all of my Titans books in my collection, which I had fun digging out, going through some of the memories of especially reading the Jeff Johns run of that book and how much that meant to me as a collector back in the early 2000s. So I know going into the DC streaming service, I feel like the Titans has the ability to be a totally successful show. I was very happy with the first episode for the most part. I really liked the Tim Drake, Dick Grayson and Raven storylines. I'm glad they intersected toward the end. It looks like they're going to get Hawk and Dove involved this week in the storyline. So I really like that part of the story so far. The Starfire stuff I'm not sold on yet, but I'm going to give it a chance. I didn't hate it as much as I thought because I started slowly reading the Perez Wolfman run, and she kind of had her memory problems and that stuff there too. So it's kind of a nod to that in episode 1, where she kind of gets in a car wreck, has no memory of stuff, and she's kind of just causing chaos because she's slowly realizing who she is and what her powers are and the situation she's in. And then we get Beast Boy or Changeling, whatever they're going to end up calling him in this series. Didn't get much of him this week. He basically is robbing Circuit Cities and Best Buys are slowly going out of business. So not much I can say about him yet. But I like I said, the tone of the show was very good. I really like the actors they got for Raven and Robin so far. I guess he'll probably be Nightwing before too long. But you can tell DC is going all in on this. The fact that they made this their introductory show, and they're putting all their chips on the table for this one, I feel like, because they have really nothing else new out yet. So the fact that they picked this one to lead off their run of TV shows that they're going to put on the service, I think they got a lot of confidence in this too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what the next episodes bring. But they got a lot of competition coming up because I was also going to talk about Flash just came back, Arrow just came back, all the CW stuff is back. We got Daredevil comes back Friday. So just ignoring the movies completely, just in TV land, there's a lot of stiff competition in the comic book realm. So hopefully I'll be able to watch all the CW stuff and get my thoughts on that Friday on Comic Core. But so far, thoughts on Titans, thumbs up, happy with it. Maybe too early to tell if it's worth the such and such price a month when you could probably just wait like a month or two and watch like triple the amount of episodes. So don't really suggest getting a subscription just for the watch one episode. Maybe wait Christmas time, wait for them to stack up, and then watch like 7 to 10 if they're up that frequently. All right, let's see what the chat thinks about that. Grayman says, can't wait till Netflix gets it. Yeah, I think the international Netflix deal, Grayman, you probably get it a lot sooner than we will over here because of the rights that the DC streaming has. So I noticed when I watched it on the Internet Movie Database, the last trailer for Titans, it had the Netflix bumpers on it. So that'll be good for you guys. I don't know if over there they're going to release it 1 week at a time like they are here. They're just going to lump it all on Netflix once it's all released. Not sure about that. Trinity says, just saw Starfire does get her comic costume and hair. It's not completed accurate, but it's way better. Yeah, that's good at least. I think once she gets the costume and, she looks like Starfire from the comic, I think that'll make a lot of people happier. But yeah, like I said, they didn't really give us tons of Starfire this last week. They gave us quite a bit, but not enough for me to judge right off the bat what they're going to do with the character. Genome Present says, not really comics related, but when are you going to do a dissertation on the glorious first appearance of the Shockmaster WCW? Oh man, the Shockmaster. He shocked the world. I just put the cap on and give my 2 cents on the Shockmaster. Yeah, the Shockmaster. No, I'm kidding. Nah. One day I'll have to give a full dissertation on the Shockmaster and all that stuff. But in the meantime, I would highly recommend what's Brian Zane's channel, Wrestling with Regret. I'm pretty sure he did a whole video that can explain the Shockmaster situation better than I ever could. So check out Wrestling with Regret if you want to know more about the Shockmaster. Trinity says, check emergency awesome. His Twitter had an image. Oh, okay. So you're probably talking about the I wonder. Actually, I may have the technology. Let's see. Of course, now I'm going to have dead air because I'm thinking about going to Twitter. So I'll try to be entertaining and look up this image at the same time. Because now I want to see it too. Unless it's just under images. Okay, here we go. Okay, media. Yeah, it keeps making me. I'm not signed in on this computer, and I can't remember my sign up this second. Or can we just click there? All right, here we go. We'll do the old screen share thing so you guys don't have to see my stupid face here. All right, so I'll go ahead and just do this real quick. And I think this is the one that Jeremy's talking about. So, yeah, that's actually a pretty solid costume. So, oh yeah, they finally unfrilled her hair too. So I definitely like that straight hair look a lot better than the weird hair she had going on early in the show. So no, that I agree, Jeremy. That does look a lot better. So that's cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can cook up in Titans and in whatever else. I mean, if Titans is this good a quality, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can come up with for Swamp Thing. And obviously, they're bringing back Young Justice too. So absolutely looking forward to all that as well. So, all right. We'll go ahead and stop sharing that. All right, I'm back. All right, so if nothing else has any other questions or anything in chat, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here because I really wasn't even planning on doing this. Second day in a row, I was kind of bummed out about the whole thing crashing yesterday, but thank you guys for joining me back again. And we didn't crash today, so all right. Last plugs, I guess. Comic Core, Friday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. I'll be there as usual. It might be a little late because of work this week, but I'm going to do my best to get there on time like usual. We've been having a string of really good shows, in my opinion. Last week I thought was pretty solid. Bueller was the host, and he did a bang up job figuring out how to host a show within like 2 minutes of being notified. So big ups to Beeler. He also put out a really nice video today. We learned how to use OBS too. So I told Beeler not to burn himself out, but he put a pretty cool video out of all of the Wolverine ongoing keys. So check that out. Shout out to Beeler. But other than that, thank you guys. Jeremy Pope, Grayman, Genome, Brian Spaceboy, Prowler671, everybody else. I don't even think I ever said hi to Simon Comics and Fish Tropic. So, and All About Comics. Man, I've been lagging on the chat today. Sorry, guys. So, hi and bye. All right, guys. Have a good not Tuesday and Wednesday now. So, I'll now catch you next week. Thank you so much.